You're listening to Zen and the Art of Endurance, your podcast for getting great at going long.
Bye, thanks. All right, leaving the pool. A lunch swim, trying to dodge rainstorms. Couldn't go swim this morning, a little bit tired. And came to swim at lunch. Tired because I was doing something epic, which I'll tell you about in a second, over the weekend. And then also, forget all that, we have an awesome episode for you because I take you with me on a bike ride. I get all mic'd up. And in stereo, you can hear the cars going by. I stop and feed the donkeys. Oh, it's great. Talk to people. Talk about all kinds of stuff. We got Ironman news. I talk about that during the ride. After the ride, I talk about Zen and some really cool concepts to know that'll help you in your training and life. And I was going to go straight into the audio of the bike ride. You can tell that's the way I recorded it when we get into it. But since I recorded that, I had an epic weekend of training that might be helpful for you for some big stuff. And also, we had Ironman St. George. It's a little breezy out here. You can hear a little bit of wind. I'm only going to record out here just for a minute. Then we're going to get to the bike ride, so stick with me. Oh, and the female winner escapes me. I always want to include that. I think most of the time the women's racing is more exciting than the guys. But anyway, the bike ride I take you with me on is just an hour ride plus, half an hour cooling down and talking about Zen stuff. Like I said, let's put the IKEA bag in the back here. But what I did on Saturday was big prep for a nasty race that's coming up. I'm really excited about. Made a new friend at the pool. He's got a Bronco. See you later. All right. See you later, man. He's a cool guy. He's got a Bronco Sasquatch package. Big old lifted thing. Could probably use that to go rescue people out of Houston. I almost had to go to Houston to rescue my mom. She lives close to Lake Houston, like within a few blocks. With all this rain, she's been almost flooded out. I'm going to call and check on her today. At least the water's slow moving and gradual. So there's time to rescue people. So that's good. We've got other family that lives in the neighborhood, so she can get out and hang out with them, whether she wants to or not. My mom's really independent. She don't need no help from nobody, which is pretty badass. Anyway, that's where I get a lot of my craziness from, I think. I've seen videos of people swimming around in the water. Kids in my old neighborhood on bikes and swimming around. Don't do that. That water's full of pollution and septic systems overflowing and pollution and fecal matter. Really great way to pick up some of the world's nastiest diseases is in flood water. But anyway, and also snakes. But let's see, Saturday, fire engine one. Yeah. Saturday, I put the microphone on the dash here. Saturday, I went for a 4-hour ride, and I was cresting the hills, riding kind of casual, and then cresting the hills hard and standing and pedaling over the hills pretty hard, so that by the end of the 4 hours, kind of trying to time it, my legs were a little bit blown out. And, let's back up. I'm doing Gravel Locos, which is a 157 mile long, pretty hilly gravel race. And honestly, it's one of the closest things that you can get to doing an Ironman, but all on a bike. Because, hold on, recovery drink sip. Let's turn on the fan here. It's kind of hot and humid in the car. Water was cold from all the rain. That felt good. Actually, I hated it at first. I was like, it feels nice after a while. And you should always look at a race by how challenging it is, like hilly-wise, and then also time-wise of average finishing times. And it turns out, I did that race last year. So I actually know about how long it's going to take me. And last year, it took me 11 and a half hours, which is similar to one of my Ironman times. on just an average one. And then gravel beats you up. It beats up your upper body. So it's like you've done a really long swim, and then all of it being on the bike, and then lots of hills, because gravel is usually in more rugged terrain because it's unimproved road. So they don't grade it to be as level as paved roads. Usually when they pave a road, they kind of level it out a little bit too. So it's steeper. So it hurts the legs. And then the bikes are heavier, so you're kind of dragging them around. It's not like riding a road bike. And you're going slower, so it's hotter. So it is quite a bit like doing a full Ironman. And that's why I run and swim also to prep for a gravel race, because it's nice just to have full body fitness. A marathon mountain bike race is like doing a half Ironman for sure. Especially like every once in a while, you got to get off your bike and run up something and drag a freaking heavy ass bike. Marathon mountain biking is usually like 40 to 60 miles of mountain bike. But anyway, so I did this 4-hour ride, and I've been doing tons of training, by the way, pulling Emily around with a tow rope to make it harder for now up to 2.5 hours. I think I talk about that during the on the bike recording that's coming up. And then on Sunday, it's like I'm 2 weeks out from the race. We're going to double down on biking, and because normally I'd run. We're going to double down on biking, and I did just over 2 hours. And what I did is I started off on Zwift, the Desert Tempest Fugit, whatever it's called, the flat, and then rode around that. That's like about 10, 12 minutes. And then you end up going down into rolling hills along Coastal Crusher, or whatever they want to call it. And that's rolling hills, getting stuff kind of warmed up. And it was already starting to hurt a little bit from the day before's 4-hour ride with pushing the hills hard. And then, you want to pedal hard going up and over the hills, because then you get a lot of speed on the downhill, and then you reach kind of like a terminal velocity and then can rest on the downhill. It's a strategy that's actually faster, but you have to train to do it, to be tough enough to stand and pedal over the tops of most hills. And then on top of that, Coastal Crusher, or the coastline, ends up at the bottom of the jungle area of Zwift on Watopia. And then you take a left and go just a few minutes, and then boom, you're at the bottom of Alpe d'Huez, or they call it Alpe de Zwift, which I think I've climbed it one time, sub 1 hour, just to tease Triathlon Terran and beat his time, because he posted that he did it in some pretty decent time. And I loaded up on caffeine one day, just freaking did it and beat his time, and then pointed it out to him just to say, friendly podcaster challenge back and forth. But that was like at 190 something pounds and probably like 270 watts, and going all out, with not being tired and everything. I was ready for it. Well, yesterday, basically I had an hour of warming up, but I was already kind of tired and hurting a little bit. I could feel it anytime I pushed it. And then I turned left and started going up Alpe d'Huez, and it took me an hour, and just over an hour. But what I did, and I set it my weight accurately, it was around 200 pounds, 209. And I'm a big guy, I'm 6'3". And then I went up it kind of in diesel locomotive mode. I kept my heart rate low and kept the cadence low, and tried to keep from using a whole lot of oxygen and pushing myself and burning up. And I managed 45 minutes like that, which was averaging about 250 watts. And then I could tell it was getting too hard, and I was getting to the point of where I was having to struggle to keep this up. And so I backed off and then finished the rest of it, like another 15-20 minutes up over the top. But that trudging low cadence of high torque, low heart rate, and just being stable and patient, and whatever I was watching on YouTube, and just trudging up the hill and feeling this just diesel burn in my legs. Oh, a car almost hit me. You need to use your blinker. It's cool. And the reason I did that was a 157-mile gravel low coast ride being hillier. Its averages like, let's say 45 feet of gain per mile. And where I live, a typical ride for me is like 35 feet of gain per mile. So I need to target hills and long hills. Well, the hills at Heiko aren't going to be that long, but just a long sustained hills and being patient and going up and letting that burn. Like, it's like you're slow cooking a roast beef. You're cooking it deep, and those are your leg muscles. And then what happens is, if you can climb Alpe d'Huez and just trudge up it at, let's say, 250, 260 watts with your heart rate nice and low without really trying all that hard. You're trying, but you're not blowing yourself out. And it's just cooking those legs gradually. Then on race day, when you have a 2-minute climb and a 3-minute climb, compared to the hour climb of Alpe d'Huez, they just don't phase you. And I can promise you from experience that on really long bike rides, it's the hill climbs that do you in. That's where it starts to hurt. And you can coast on the downhills, and recover. But eventually, the going uphill starts to hurt and starts to burn you up. And then you can't do it anymore without cramping and such. So if you train for massive hill climbs, then the much shorter hill climbs that show up on the race just don't seem to phase you, and you can just sail through them. So the plan is, I did one on Sunday. I'm going to do another one in the middle of this week, and then probably another one at the end of the week, say Sunday again. All calm and cool and just taking my time, not wearing myself out too much. And then we have 5-6 days off until race day. And then on race week, on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I have the days off. And we are going to get the RV together and drive up there early and be up there for ZenDurance, mobile studios, and do interviews with people and pre-ride the course, do all kinds of fun stuff, and have a big family event out of it. So that'll be very cool. All right, so today's swim, before we get into the bike ride, I either do 2.4 miles, which is like 4,200 yards, or an hour, whichever one comes first. And if I'm tired, the hour comes first. If I'm feeling awesome, the 2.4 miles comes first. So today I almost got in 4,000 yards before I hit an hour, and it felt good. I didn't really want to go, but I might talk about in this episode. Massive mediocrity is a phrase that I want you guys to learn and listen to and think about. It's just a really good analogy for just tons of volume, and don't really care too much about the specifics of your results and comparing mind and how good you did and all that stuff. It's volume and not being stressed about it that makes you great. And a really good way to describe that is this phrase I just learned called massive mediocrity. And it's a productivity saying for like work stuff. All right, that's it. Speaking of that, I am at the office, and I'm going to go in and have some lunch, some post-swim lunch, some kind of pasta with some veggies mixed in. And yeah, all right, that's it. Let's join me on this bike ride. The audio is a little bit windy and my voice is a little bit low and the surround sound's a little bit high. I'm working on it. Like I say in this thing, there's like 16 settings on this portable microphone setup, and we'll dial them in and get them fixed in. This is part of your massive mediocrity. We'll get them. We're just going to keep trying and doing it and do a little bit of Kaizen and little improvements as we go along. And we'll eventually get it nailed down on what sounds best on the bike. There's all kinds of wind screens and all that kinds of cool stuff. That's a lot of fun. And it's an adventure, like figuring out what makes it work. So if you are interested in some coaching and how to be awesome at your own huge events, don't forget to hit me up at zentriathlon@gmail.com. And also, if you want to help support the show, go over to patreon.com and check out ZenTri, patreon.com/ZenTri. And there's ways to support the show and advertise on the show and also become a title sponsor, which reminds me, Form Swim, the head-up goggles, which actually helped me today. I was like, just swim by heart rate and just make sure you're going hard enough that it's actually a workout at all. So I end up swimming low zone 2 because the heart rate's showing in my goggles. And then I can kind of just be relaxed and relieve the stress. No, I'm not wondering if it's actually doing anything. I know it is because I can see my heart rate. And they are offering discount code ZenTry and all caps, and that is 10% off their original goggles, where then you can get the polar little HR reader disc that goes on the side of your temple, and you keep them separate. The newer goggles has it all built in together, which is cool too, but the older goggles are cheaper, and yeah, you get another 10% off with discount code ZenTry. So I love it. Maybe you want to try it out too. Okay, let's get to a bike ride. And like I said, it's a little windy off and on. There's moments of greatness and moments of windiness. And yeah, just stick with it. You're endurance athletes. You can handle it. All right, let's go for a spin. Well, hey there, all you endurance freaks and geeks. Let's go for a ride. Y'all are going with me on an hour ride. I just picked up a new microphone. We're gonna go old school style. Got a squeaky front brake. I'm gonna try to avoid it. Oh, got my Garmin radar. We're gonna talk about Ironman Texas. Oh, I think I should have gone a different way. Already, I hopped on the bike a little bit too fast today, so I'm probably gonna forget some things because I'm trying to avoid a rainstorm that's coming and still get in an hour, and also miss there you go. That's what it's all about. I want to get home before it gets dark. I left just in time to give me about half an hour. But also, we got to feed a donkey. Okay, clear back. We're going to talk about sea otter. We're going to talk, there's a bunny rabbit. Go, bunny rabbit. Some new gear that was released. Some race results. We're going to do it all on the bike in an hour. And I just picked up my bike from the bike shop. So this is also a test ride to see if the everything's fixed. All right, clear back. I took it in because the rear derailleur was acting sluggish, and asked them, maybe the solution is a new shifting cable. So they said they did that. And what else did we get? The steering tube stovepipe effect was that's something rattling somewhere. I don't know what that is. I got the mic. This is a new recording device, and I've got it set up to pick up ambient noise. I guess the downside is it's going to pick up everything that's wrong with my bike. Bear with me, I'll fix it over the next few podcasts. Figure that out. Car back. So speaking of car back, Trek just released a new rear radar called Car Back. At Sea Otter, the biggest bike trade show this time of year. Lots of cool stuff. And let's see, they had I'll talk about that race result in a minute. We'll do triathlon first. Is that my rear derailleur? It's just jiggling. What is that? Here because I have to go down a stretch of road with no shoulder. I do the cars behind me a favor and not back them up too much. We're waiting. There's a stoplight about half a mile to a mile back, and that should hold them off. They give me a break after this truck. Let's go. Yeah, maybe the shifting's too much ambient noise, huh? All right, we're gonna make this without being run over. How about that? Made it, sorta. I made it through the worst part. Here's dog number 2. There you go. We'll get into the mic setup here in a second. What's going on? Well, let's talk about Ironman Texas first. There's a dad on the sidewalk following his little kid on a push bike, or pedal bike actually. Okay, I got through the worst part of the traffic here, so I think we're good. To relax a little bit. There's a cyclist going the other way. Road bike. So Ironman Texas went down, and let's see, my picks to win were Jocelyn McCauley, because she's from here, and Joe Skipper, just because he's pretty good. Turned out I couldn't have been more wrong. They both DNF'd. It ended up being super hot. And I was riding home on my bike after pulling Emily along behind me for 2.5 hours. I was doing an hour and a half from that location back to the house, and my bike computer, that's a car back sound. Bike computer was reading 96 degrees on the pavement, or 3 feet above the pavement. And it was 60% humidity. And when you go online and put that into a calculator, that's a heat index of 119. That's what it feels like. Oh my God, that's Death Valley temperatures at the peak of Death Valley, the worst. You're running a marathon in that. Oh, Cat Williams. Is it Cat Williams? She won. There was a a penalty. The Radar Ranger devices that they're using to stop drafters, they're testing it out on the pros, and it's got this problem where when pros slow down to go into turns, the pro behind them ends up in the draft zone, because that's natural. It's okay, right, for this to happen, because they're slowing down, and then the person behind them doesn't slow down until a little bit later when they get to that point. So you end up with this accordion effect, just like cars driving in traffic. I'm waiting across the highway. There's a railroad track. Car coming up behind me. Mustang Turbo. And so I think she got a penalty, but they're reviewing how all the software works because of the false positives it's giving for people. So it kind of worked. They just need to review that and fix it. And then on the men's side, guy from Mexico won it, and kind of surprised everybody. Because a lot of people didn't know who he is. But he's got some really good results. But he's young and hasn't done that many races. First gravel. It's a construction zone. They're repaving the road, and it's all torn up. It's down to the base layer. It's gravel. Down into the aero position. I'm going into a headwind. I can actually get way over. I get off the road over here. There's some cars coming. Ooh, the road got soft. Big tires activate. Shape up. Rideable road. But check this out. He ran a 5:51 average pace in that heat for 26 miles. 0.2. It's the 0.2 that really hurts. I mean, absolutely crazy. And they showed online a replay at high speed of the leaderboard. Back on pavement. Aero position. There's a little bit more construction. Car back. I'm about to turn right. There's a warning. Sharp turn ahead. Get back, make sure it's not a cop. Okay. Yeah, that's something a little jiggly. I'm going to have to find that out. So anyway, I had a friend do it as well. He's in pretty decent shape, and it took him 14 something hours. And he said, yeah, it was 6 hours out on the run. It's just so hot. His fueling was good. I gave him fueling tips. I think he used them. I'm gonna pull over up here and see what this, if I can figure out what the jiggling is. If it's something easy to fix. Up here in this corner, this would be a nice spot. Okay, maybe not a corner. This dude's flying around the corner. Kai and I fixed the flat tire right here. Auto pause. Gear lock down. I don't think that's it. That's not it. That sounds like it. Maybe it's just the chain jiggling. Maybe we're stuck with this. There's not much I can do. We'll move things around in the saddlebag at some point and see. Dude, I had a CO2 cartridge tapping the seat post, and I nearly disassembled the whole front end of my bike because that's where I thought it was coming from. Okay, now we're truly on a really remote country road, although there's a detour going on and there's cars coming the other way. A lot. That might be in there. Got some rattly stuff in there. That's in my frame bag. Hold on, that's it. Or maybe it's not so bad in the recording. We'll find out. Maybe it'll let you know how rough the road is. What I'm actually riding on. It's part of it. This would be considered miserable on a regular triathlon bike. This road's like really rough chip seal. Let's see, Sea Otter, the XL mountain bike race, Lifetime Grand Prix kicked off. And on the hill here, there's some Longhorns over on the left, for real. And of course, Keegan Swinson and Sophia. Oh man, her last name Viafone Gomez is her middle last name. They both won. So the Trek car back has twice, it claims to have twice the distance. Somebody tested it and said it didn't. But twice the distance of radar going back. And a narrower field so it doesn't alert you to cars off to the side, like if you're riding a side road all the time, which would be nice for me. A different form factor, so it's more square. So if you have room on the back for something that's more square instead of elongated like the Garmin one, that'd be good. And so that's a new device of interest. We're coming up on the donkey. We're gonna have to call for him. Donkey! Donkey! I got time. I can record it with my camera to put on Instagram. And also, donkey! I've got the better carrots. I've got long carrots. Marginal donkey gains. Let me get out my camera just in case. The other day I rode by and he was out here and I felt so bad. Let me walk this way. Donkey! Donkey! We can wait a little bit. I'll just call him every once in a while. There's a horse. Donkey! Yeah, Cane Creek released a new suspension fork for gravel, calling it the first true gravel fork, first real gravel fork. I disagree with that. I think that the Lauf, Lauf from Iceland, gravel fork is, or bike fork, suspension fork is actually the first one. It turns out, by accident, is perfect for gravel. It's got just the right amount of travel, no moving parts. Donkey! And no maintenance. I don't really want to yell really loud. I don't want to use my my Marine Corps yell. Maybe y'all want to hear it. There's neighbors. Even though everybody's a mile apart, there's still neighbors. Here you go. Y'all ready? Donkey! I can actually yell louder than that, but I'm not going to. That was a 9 out of 10. See if that carries farther. I think I heard a peacock. Oh, no. The owners are coming out. That's great. Yeah.
Oh, he's eating, and that's probably why he's ignoring your face. I just fed him, so that's probably why his face is in a bucket.
Oh, how long do I need to wait?
He doesn't really have that much food to eat, so probably not that long.
Okay. Hey! I got a little bit. What's his name?
Zeke?
Zeke, okay. I couldn't remember if it was Zach or Zeke.
It's Ezekiel, but we call him Zeke.
Ezekiel, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tracy told me one time and I couldn't remember. I'm a friend of Tracy.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She told me to feed him carrots.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I used to take pictures of him when I would ride by, and it turns out it's Tracy's, or y'all's. She knows him. And then
Stop yelling at the dog, please.
she's like, feed him carrots when you go by. Don't just look at him. So
Yes. He's a hot commodity.
Yeah.
Everybody on bikes anyway.
Well, I posted it on Instagram, us feeding him carrots, and he's like a superstar. People love him because he comes running, you know, and he's like, yeah, yeah, like that. And it's so cute with his ears back. And one time he bucked. He's all like so excited.
Get so excited.
Yeah.
I know there is a lady that usually walks every morning.
Yeah.
Right here, and I guess because he is super friendly, obviously.
Yeah.
And I guess he like bit her hand or snapped at her hand or something, and it like started bleeding. And so she's like, I had to call animal control, but I just wanted to let you know. And we were like, okay, well then stay away.
That's your fault for.
Hi,
baby.
It just says.
Yeah, whenever I was feeding them, I love horses and donkeys, but I'm also really I'm scared of being bit. I've been bitten before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so and my wife grew up with horses on a horse farm, and she's like, "You're doing it all wrong," you know. She's all. I got it on video of her correcting me. And she's like, you feed them down low, like from the middle, like to under the fence, kind of. And then I was using the wrong carrots, you know, I was using like baby carrots. Oh. So now I've got the right carrots.
That's so funny, oh my gosh.
And then, tell you, this is a thing.
Yeah, Riley, when she was little, she just loved getting in her princess dress, and she would come, and because Zeke will really eat anything, like dog treats and anything, and so she would get in her princess dress, climb on the fence, and literally stick her entire hand in his mouth, and he would never bit her. So whatever
he's very gentle, but he could do it by accident, I could tell.
And he would never bite down until her hand was always out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And so I just thought it was so weird that he had
bit
her. But anyways, well, I hope he comes down for you.
Yeah, I hope so.
Carrots.
Okay.
Now, let me come through this way.
Okay.
Hey, Stitch, come on. Ew, girl.
That was loud.
Stitch, come on. You don't have to yell at him.
Good dog. Okay, so I'm looking at my bike to see where the chain's probably tapping right there. It's hard to tell, but I can do this. So we might not get Ezekiel today if he's eating. We'll wait a little bit. So that was a young lady on a gas-powered four-wheeler, golf cart looking thing, with two little girls coming out to check the mail on their gator. And then I couldn't tell because the windows were tinted, but a Dodge dually diesel, I think, pulling up to come home from work. So I got the whole family event here on tape. That was crazy. Maybe what I'll do is I'll ride half an hour out and then half an hour back, and I'll come back by here. Let's do that. I won't do the full loop. And then maybe he'll be back out here. He'll be done eating. Because we got to get this ride done before it gets dark. I'll wait. Yeah, I'll come back. Okay, let's go. So the Loud Fork, if you upgrade your gravel bike to it, it's $300 from the regular Lauf, which is already a smoking deal gravel bike. It's a really good value. We're on a gravel road now. And this fork from Cane Creek is $1,100. Am I being blown out? And That's nice. I got confirmation on the donkey's name. It's easy to remember now because it's Ezekiel, like the bread that I eat. And then, I mean, when all it is just a trimmed down, it's just a trimmed down mountain bike kit that you could get for half that price. So you're getting less fork, paying way more money. And then you gotta do maintenance on this stuff. Now, would I take one if Cane Creek said one? Absolutely. But if it was my own money. But then a loud fork looks weird. And there's a lot going on. So I think for style points, the Cane Creek one is probably the way to go. Let's sip some fuel here on this downhill. Oh yeah. Far back. Had a blue heeler, Australian cattle dog. So what is that, dog number 3? Just count dogs. So I've been training for Gravel Locos, which is 157 miles gravel race. What you do is you look at decent finishing time. I did it last year. It took me 11 and a half hours because it's got some climbs in it, and so I took my bike into the shop, make sure it's ready for this race. And gravel again, obviously, big downhill. And just doing a lot of big torque. Keeping the heart rate low, but doing low cadence, hard gear. Building some climbing muscles. And also been pulling Emily. You can go see this on ZenDurance on Instagram. And it's working really nicely. Oh, and practicing standing and climbing a lot. Man, this road is rough. Beautiful view. Woo! Big hill. As I got on Zwift, we're doing about 30 miles an hour down here on gravel. I got on Zwift and my power numbers were up a lot at the same heart rate. Oh, I've got power meter pedals on order. Don't tell Kai, because he's going to get some shoes. He just doesn't know it yet. Do not tell him, people. And I'll be serious, it needs to be a surprise. And don't even tell them I'm getting in. Because I'm getting the Asioma ones that are, you can't tell that they're power meter pedals. Sort of. They're kind of hard to tell. Let's get back in aero position. This race is going to be a lot in aero position. It's 50% road. It's mostly champagne gravel, a mix of rough stuff. It's just got some steep sections in it. So on purpose, took Emily using the tow rope. You have to see this thing. You got to go to Instagram. 15-foot retractable dog leash as a tow rope. And two and a half hours at a place that I knew had slightly more elevation gain than the race. And also some other rides with her doing the same thing. But it really makes you stronger. And it's fun. We're getting a ride. Like here's a baby Oreo. There's Oreo cows off to the left. The ones with the white stripe down their midsection in black. Here's a baby one. Because the magic of gravel riding is you get to go out to places and see magical things. And so, you got two people. You know, unless they're training buddies, specifically like exactly the same, I have a hard time. You're not going to stay together. But the tow rope does that. Keeps you together. Gives the stronger person a workout, a better workout. But unlike a tandem, you're independent of each other. It's really awesome. Yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this loop right here. It's real swoopy. So back on the, I don't have a power meter on this bike, that's why I ordered one, but the pedals. So that way I can put them on my mountain bike too. And on the trainer, after being warmed up, I was averaging 200, let's say average about 215 without trying, which is what it's all about. For long stuff, you want to be powerful and moving quickly without trying. What's your not trying speed? You're like low to middle zone 2. Dog 4 and 5. And doing that requires building up power with hill climbs, but at a lower cadence. I could tell it kind of plateaued out with high cadence. It's back to low cadence. I'm building some power, and it worked. Wow. So if I taper, rested, we're looking at, while pedaling easy on the flats, 200, 220 for this race, maybe less. Coasting on the downhills, that's what you do in the really long races. It's the fastest way because you recover. You end up being faster in the long run. Okay, headed back the other direction. I got a headwind. And keeping your heart rate low. And then on the climbs, it was normal road riding, 270 to 300 for short climbs. Mountain biking, you don't really get that. It's so steep, you have to put out 500, 800 watts to get up and over. And then you coast again. It's like insane coast, insane coast. Gravel biking is in between. Usually when they pave a road, they level it some. Here we go. Pave or gravel. Let's get an aeroplane. There's a turn up here. I'm going to sit up a little bit. It's a pretty location. Right, left, right, left, right. So I've lost 10 pounds or more since last year, so I'll be faster. Hopefully. Everything's with a grain of salt. I mean, you never know. And then I'll be more fit. I'm on the same bike, so I'll make it a little bit slower because it's wearing out. But I'm doing low cadence on purpose. Climb ahead. Oh, I got a new bike computer. This is the third Garmin 840 that I've bought. Numbers 1 and 2 went to Kai. He had one and then lost it at a race. Left it on the bumper of a car. And we're halfway back from the border of Oklahoma. So 4 hours, 3 hours. Yeah. Oh shit. Where's my bike computer? Somebody stole it. We told people where to go look for it and it was gone. And then, so I got him a second one, and the whole time I'm using my watch as a bike computer. No power meter, watch as a bike computer. What's nice is once you've had all the stuff, you don't necessarily need it to realize what's important. And when you have somebody else you got to buy stuff for that is more important, you're just like, well, I'll buy you the nice stuff for a while. So it's been a while. I got a nice tax refund, so finally, after years and years, picked up a bike computer. My 520 is so old, it doesn't run for more than about an hour and a half maybe. Downhill. Climb complete. So I ordered it as fast as I could before this race to get used to it. Because as much as I know bike computers and GPS and all the technology, during a race is not a time to be learning where to turn auto pause off and on and how to get to the home screen. Which actually I had trouble with that right before I started this ride. How do I get to the freaking home screen? So frustrating. The older you get, the less intuitive the intuitive stuff gets. It's made for kids that grew up on iPads doing touchscreens. But the mapping is a really big deal. And you want touchscreen if you do big rides in places where either you don't know where you are or the route's on there. But anyway, you want to be able to pinch and zoom and pan the map with a touchscreen instead of the buttons. And when Kai and I did our 3-day practice trudging up this hill, our 3-day bike adventure, the Pine Curtain 305 or whatever, 320, that's what it was. It was a Ford Raptor. It was so awesome. We used his bike computer so much. And I was like, I looked up on his Strava to see what bike computer I'd bought for him because I'd forgotten. Because it was a year ago. I was like, that's the one. Because I did research on Slow Twitch to find the right one. Because you can do a touchscreen, but you need a touchscreen that doesn't react to rain, but will react to your fingers when the touchscreens are wet from rain or fuel, sweat. And on Slow Twitch forums, they were like, yep, the 840's touchscreen works in the rain just fine. It'll be good. As good as you can expect. Practice climbing in the aero position because it's harder. It's good training, good use of your training time. So I'm down low, climbing slowly. It's calling this a climb here. And on a recent podcast, we were talking about how low cadence, hard low cadence, actually works your fast twitch muscles too. Not a lot of people don't know that. But also, what happens is, what? Let me ask you, listener. When you start going slow towards the end of a race and struggling, what happens to your cadence? It goes down. you get worn out, so you go slower. So you're going to be using those muscle fibers. At that rate, the slower cadence. You go back and look at your cadence files and see really long rides. Running too. So you might as well train them. And then as you get tired and your cadence slows down, you'll be well trained. Those muscle fibers, it will not feel hard or anywhere near as hard as if you didn't. Climb complete. Let's take a sip of fuel before we hit this gravel. Okay, let's talk about this mic setup. Zen in the Art of Triathlon, which the show has been until very recently, started out as Triathlete's Garage, and then I realized the name was already taken by a magazine client. And then I was out riding, listening to podcasts. Some of the very earliest podcasts, 2004, were about Zen. Zen masters were recording their weekly talks to the Zen, what they call the Dharma Hall. It's the school, the monastery, and putting them out on the web as podcasts, and they were amazing. So I was listening to that, and so I decided to call it Zen in the Art of Triathlon because I grew up with Zen in the Art of motorcycle maintenance around the house from my dad. And also, I'm the Bruce Lee and Kung Fu generation and Karate Kid. Just wait to get a truck driver, ranch truck at his gate, getting his mail. Let's really ride some gravels. Yeah. And I'm not the one that invented listening to a podcast on the bike. Adam Curry started recording podcasts outside. Sounded awesome. We call it Soundscape. And then this guy, I'm forever thankful for, was smugly riding around San Francisco on a fixed gear, which is dead silent, you know. Super Duty F/4 Ford. There's Donkey. See? Oh my God. I'm gonna get my camera rolling. See? See? Hi. Hi. Okay. See, over here, see, come here, come here, come here. Look, I got a carrot. Look at all your pretty flowers. There you go. Look what I did. I got the right carrots. Your parents told me your name is Ezekiel. What do you think about that? Huh? I got another carrot. You don't even know it. It's behind my back. It's in my jersey pocket. Look at you. I called for you so hard earlier, but your parents said you were eating. You had your head in a bucket. like the rest of us do. All right, you want one more? Look at this. Look at that. Okay, and then I gotta go because it's gonna rain. Oh my God. Oh. Okay. Oh, there you go. Yeah, buddy. Okay, I gotta go. We'll see you later. This worked out. There's my bike over there. Let's go. I'm going to text this to the family, the video. I'll put it on Instagram in a little bit. There we go. He's still chewing. Let's cross the road, get back on the bike. So this guy was riding around San Francisco, and I've been in downtown San Francisco as a tourist. It was amazing. So I kind of knew what he was talking about, but I was imagining in my mind, and the sound of the bike and the city around him was just hypnotic. It was so awesome. So what I started doing was recording while I was on the bike, but it was still about triathlon and not about Zen, because I was nervous about talking about all the stuff I learned and been applying to triathlon and endurance training, and how it worked. Like, it was amazing, and I was a better person and more living life. Like, I really understood like what was going on. It was so great, but I wasn't talking about it on the show. So I went out on a ride, 2, ride 3, kind of like what we were doing earlier, talking about news and about triathlon specific stuff. And then I had a very small listener base, you know. And then on, like, say, the 3rd or 4th ride, I ran out of things to talk about, you know, after an hour. But the scenery is so beautiful, and it's so interesting what's going on. And I'd already gotten feedback that people love the sounds of the countryside. But I just started, I was like, what else could I talk about? It's like, let's talk about Zen. And boom! Show took off. People told me that's what they're waiting for. Like, when is he going to start talking about Zen? Enough about gear ratios. Zen is some really cool stuff. I might get to some of it here in a little bit, but well, actually, pretty soon. And so that's how it, maybe that's when I just decided to call it Zen and the Art of Triathlon. I changed the name to Zen and the Art of Triathlon. And then over the years, as I got more and more serious about racing, and then my recorder malfunctioned and broke, and I just didn't go out and buy a new one, and I just started recording more into my new iPhone. We call it the Black Mamba. And got away from writing and recording and the setup that I have. And like a lot of y'all know, longtime listeners, I put the show on hiatus. I tried making episodes, but it just was not working for like 2-3 years. Mix of pandemic And Kai's Boy Scout troop needed a scoutmaster. The existing scoutmaster had to leave. He got a job in Ohio. And I take that seriously. You know, that's a lot of responsibility. You got people, Eagle Scouts, future Eagle Scouts, make or break in your hands. So that came first. And then Kai's mountain bike team, high school team, asked for me to coach. I was like one of the only 2 people, maybe, that could take the older group on long rides because of my endurance background. So anyway, bringing the show back, I've gotten into, well, Kai really wanted to do off-road. He did lots of triathlon as a kid, but I get it, dude. Off-road, outdoors, the woods, all that stuff, mountain biking. And then gravel biking got invented in a way, became a thing, I'll say that. And I found it to be an awesome way to get in road miles that are way safer than being out on the open road. So we started doing gravel biking for volume, and then Kai became one of the top mountain bikers in the state. And still is in the collegiate league, because he was doing volume on gravel rides, long gravel rides. Aero position. You can ride aero position on a gravel bike. Get a forward-facing seat post, clip on aerobars, get the CG's pads so they're nice and thick and cushy. I've got a suspension stem. And I spend about 80 to 90% of my time on gravel in the aero position. It's fine. You spread the elbow pads out just a little bit more than you would if you were doing like pure road. And that gives you the stability that you need. And then don't slam it so much. Ride a little bit more upright, and that gives you the stability that you need. And boom, your triathlon training on a gravel bike. See, that section right there is a little sketchy, so I sat up just for a second. Put back down in there. So a couple of weeks ago, so I started the show up again, like hard into it, because I got passed up for a promotion at work, and I was like, well, I'm pigeonholed, can't move up. It's just evident. I'm at the level where they're going to hire people from outside for upper management. They do that kind of thing, you know. Makes them look good to find somebody amazing instead of the person that's right there. Makes the people doing the hiring feel good about themselves. Just saying. I like my boss, he's awesome. They found somebody great, so whatever. Anyway, I mean, I was pissed, but then I'm like, okay, what do you really love to do? And it's like, oh, I love doing the podcast and all stuff. So let's fire it back up, get everything back online. And after a while, I realized I should just call it Zen and the Art of Endurance, because that broadens the scope of the show. Because we done ultra running, ultra marathons. One of our upcoming guests is an ultra marathoner, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And then You know, some of the stuff I've done, like marathon swimming, right? People just see triathlon in the title, and they're like, oh. I want to hear about ultra running. And it's like, dude, you will on this show. I use triathlon training as a base for everything, and then I basically train at the high end of half Ironman all the time, of like 15 hours per week. And then as a whatever kind of race comes up, about a month or two out, I sharpen the blade for that. And lately, because of Kai, marathon mountain biking and gravel racing is the longest stuff that I can find that's off-road like he wants to do. But anyway, a week or so ago, Bikes Are Death put out a podcast. He's riding the Arizona Trail mic'd, and it sounded so awesome and also so familiar to what I used to do. So I messaged him. He's from here. He has no idea who I am. It's so funny. And I said, dude, I'm like the OG Record on the Bike guy from 2005. He's like, oh, that's cool, dude. Anyway. Let's do a little bit more fuel. I asked him, hey, what were you recording with? And he said, just if anybody wants to do that the cheap way, iPhone with the headphone cable, and then a dead rabbit, dead cat, is what they call the little fuzzy thing around the microphone. So if you want to try it, you can do it. The fuzzy thing blocks the wind noise. But my advice to you is, if you get serious about it, that ain't going to work very long. Because sweat and rain will ruin that setup. But you'll learn. But anyway, it sounded so awesome. I suggest you go listen to it. It's really cool. And I was like, man, I need to start doing that again. So I got the gear together, actually at lunch today. I've been testing out the settings, trying to find one that works. So it's some of the old gear and some updated versions of the electronics. So there's a million settings. So this is kind of a test run. I don't want to give everything away because I spent a long time perfecting it. And also everybody needs to, in Zen, they don't tell you anything. They let you figure it out. It's very much not Zen to tell somebody how something works. You kind of point them in the right direction and they need to experience it, or else they don't believe it. I've been in the aero position for a while now, which you've been able to tell, pretty smooth road, pretty level. Just grinding away. Heart rate's 123. I estimate about 230 watts. We'll see. wave at a truck. I wave at everybody while I'm on the bike. Because then when somebody, they're in a conversation with somebody, says, I hate cyclists. Such assholes, they block traffic where they go. Cyclists I see wave all the time, they're really nice. I like cyclists, they're friendly, they make me feel good to see. Go back on the busy road. I gotta make a decision. I'm at a choke point. I think I'll turn off and ride the sidewalk for a second. I'm not backing up cars. I can get back on the road past this. It's gonna go from 2-lane to 4-lane right up here. So hopefully we'll get this gear figured out, recording figured out, and we'll have a whole lot of this, and it's going to be awesome. What's the best is when a motorcycle gang goes by on Harley choppers, man. It's so crazy sounding. I can't cross over right here. I want to. Hi. I think we can cross. Can we cross over up here? Oh, like one of the things that's not showing up on my bike computer is hiking and mountain bike trails. It shows up on my watch, but not on my bike. Okay, here we go. Back out on the road. Aero position, just cranking away. Gentle uphill, rolling. Maybe a couple gear changes here and there. So I was listening to a Zen talk, and they had a guest talk about Zen and running, ultra marathoning. Well, at first it was just about running. That's what the title was. And I was like, oh, runner. That's kind of cool. I'll listen to this one because we all have choices. And then she said, so I was out running, and then I was out running in the Grand Canyon. I was like, okay, interesting. Yeah, there she goes. And then I did rim to rim. That's one edge of the Grand Canyon down and then up the other edge. And I don't remember if she said rim to rim and then back again. That's called rim to rim to rim. That's there and back. Insane elevation gain. Just absolute bonkers. Really long run, by the way. And so when I finished, I was all running in the moment, using my Zen practice, meditation kind of running. Which works because you're listening to your body. You pay attention to how you respond to things in Zen. That's one of the keys that you have to learn. Things just are. The problem is how you respond to them. And getting on a sidewalk trail here. It's nice and wide. Get close to the house, about 2 minutes. And she said, and then when I finished, there's this thing called fastest known time, FKT, which I love because it also sounds out as fucked. Or fuck it. And she goes, I set the fastest known time on this thing. I was like, oh man, who is this? And so I suggest you go listen to it. It's Upaya, letter U, P-A-Y-A, Upaya Zen Center. And it's Katie, I think her last name's Abbott. That's what she was talking about. Turns out she's an editor for Online or Outside magazine. Jump the curb there. And then I messaged her literally like this. Oh my God, I can't believe I just found out about you. Can you come be on the show? I do the longest, oldest Zen and endurance podcast. And you would be so great on the show. And she's got a book coming out. And she's like, yeah, absolutely. So that's an upcoming guest. Google her. We are at the house. Emily's still not home from work. Let's stop it. Let's turn off the radar. So we got some metrics. I can't tell if it's saying 16 and a half miles or 17 and a half miles. Maybe it's 16 and a half miles per hour for 17.8 miles because I went an hour and 5 minutes. 78 degrees. Real hilly in the middle. That's awesome. Shows an elevation profile. Let's save that to the Garmin. This is the kind of stuff people love. And I'm all mic'd up so I can be hands-free. So this is cool. We're about to go in the house and you can hear all the dogs. And let me sure my Garmin app is on before I hit save. I beat the rain. How about that? Customize with Connect IQ, not now. Tomorrow. Okay. That'll go for like a year before I actually do it. As a triathlete, by nature, I have no time for anything, which is both good and bad. Save. Saving. Okay. Okay, we'll see. Garmin just released a new app interface. I'm loving this. This is the kind of stuff we've been waiting for on this show. Okay, I'm going to leave this here. Doggies! Hi! Oh my gosh. We're going to go hop in the pool. I've got a small backyard pool, which is a love-hate relationship. I thought I'd be fine taking care of it myself because I used to be a lifeguard and you have to do basic maintenance, like testing chlorine and stuff. But there's a reason why it's a job for people, and there's a service for it. It's both easy, but if you screw it up, then it gets expensive. So it either evens out or it costs less in the long run to pay somebody else to do it, unfortunately. Let's see. Let's grab a beer. We have a Hop Rodeo Rotating Hazy IPA made in Texas. It's got a rodeo guy on a hop bud. Those of y'all didn't know, hops are actually the same family as marijuana, I think. Pretty sure. All right, let's go. They're like distant cousins, very distant. All right. Walk into the pool. Let me grab my my equipment here. You're going to hear me get in, but then in a little while, we're going to drink the beer, but then I'm going to stop recording and I'm going to go under and rinse completely off, get all this dirt off me. Gravel dust, really, and pollen. I'm allergic like a mofo. Ooh, water's just right. It's a little bit cool. Make sure my pockets are clean. Yeah, okay. How far can I go in? I go up to my waist. That's nice. Yeah, this is a good decision to get the surround sound mic set up going again, to get the recording going again. A lot of work went into figuring out how to do all this stuff back in the day. Be a shame to, what Prefontaine said, sacrifice the gift. If I figured out how to do something, I ought to keep with it. I say that all the time already. About people changing sports. They'll be the best in a sport, and they'll be like, I'm going to go do this other sport. It's like, okay, you think that you're going to be as good at that other sport as you was with the first sport, but you're not. We're gifted at like one sport. And if you were lucky enough to figure it out, you got to stick with it. Same thing happens with tech entrepreneurs and stuff. They start a business and they make $1 million because they got lucky. Millions. And then they go start another business. They sell it, go start another business. And then they go bankrupt. And they fail. They think it's a fallacy that happens to all of us. We think because we're successful at something that we're really smart. Nah, you were lucky. You were almost always lucky. You may be smart, but it takes smart and lucky, be in the right place at the right time to get rich off of something. So don't throw it away. Okay, then let's see, we're going to talk about, Katie Abbott. And then, so I was looking for her audiobook, and she's already published one book that's about her growing up. And I'm not sure how old she is. She might be my age. And she's got 2 kids. And then I saw this other audiobook called Zen in the Vernacular by Peter Coyote, and it is awesome. It is really, really good. So I suggest you check that out. I'm just barely into it, and I'm loving it. It's just classic, like explaining how Zen works, and, mixed in with his own life experiences. Apparently he's a retired actor and was in a lot of stuff. And then on another Zen podcast I was listening to, a phrase caught my attention that I've heard a million times, but I thought I'd explain it on this show. It's called a turning word. And a turning word is when something happens. Sometimes it's what somebody says. That's why it's a turning word. Makes you have an moment of enlightenment and realization. So an example of an action example, not a speaking example, would be me hearing the Bikes or Death podcast and him recording on a mic and me going, oh, dude, yes, I need to do that again. That's the path. I get it now. All of a sudden, it's like turning on a room is pitch black and is dark. You can't see anything. It takes one light for you to be able to see, at least to get around in the room. Just one light, like one candle. And that's why they call it enlightenment, because it's just turn on a light. And all of a sudden you can see the furniture in the room. You're like, okay, now I'm not going to stub my toe every 5 seconds in life, because I can actually see what I'm doing, right? So you have this moment of enlightenment. You're like, oh, that's the right, duh. This happens to all of us all the time. And Zen teaches you to be patient until those moments happen, because it'll come if you're paying attention and ready for it. And anyway, there's a Zen story about a monk that thought he knew everything. And then, this is long time ago, and it's mythological. A master or something asked him a question, and the guy gave the guy that thought he knew everything, let's call him Monk A. Monk A told Monk B this answer, and it was bad. It was not correct. So Monk B had the power of Grayskull, and turned him into a fox for like 500 years or something like that. He had to live and die again over and over and over again as a fox for all this time, which sucked. Because in Eastern philosophy, Asian, like Chinese, foxes are more like coyotes. They're not, they're kind of problematic. They're cool, but they're in our culture, Western culture, we think they're cute and all that stuff. Over there, they're kind of a problem, and that they're not great. And which just shows you, like, culturally, how things are different. And the mosquitoes trying to bite my arms. And 500 years later, this other monk at a monastery, is out walking in the mountains and comes across this fox. But the fox could talk. And it turns out it's that monk. He's like, I've been trapped in this body of a fox for 500 years. Please give me a turning word and to relieve me of this. And it's emblematic of the whole story of Zen, where it's like a circle of life, and it goes all the way back to Buddhism, and where their belief is you're stuck on this wheel of life, and goes back to times that are kind of like really poverty stricken, and well, still today in a lot of places. And then life sucks and it's misery. So how do I get out of this? It's 99% of people are just in misery because they're starving and poor and all that, like real genuine misery, not just opinion. And that's where it goes back to, this mindset of that. And and that's what Buddhism was supposed to be a relief for. And then Zen came later. It's a version of Buddhism that came much later. And Buddhism got started 500 years BC, and then Zen is like 800 AD, maybe 400, 500, 600 AD. So much, much later. So let's say 1,000 years later, Zen came about. And it's when Buddhism met Chinese, when Buddhism's Indian, and when it traveled east and then met Chinese Taoism, which is about nature, and Confucianism, which is about like inverse logic, and everything's the opposite of what you think and stuff. And that combined and turned into Zen, which is really cool. And then it moved to Japan much later. It was called Chan in China, and then it got translated to Zen in Japan by Dogen and some other people that brought it over. And then that got brought over to the United States, to California, majorly in the 60s by, what's his name? It escapes me at the minute. I'll drink about it now, remember. Suzuki. What's his name? Which is funny, because Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, and Suzuki's a motorcycle brand. Oh, so funny how it all works out, eh? Anyway, no relation. But when the fox was talking to this newer monk that he encountered, give me a turning word, the monk was enlightened, this master, and said something. I can't remember what it was, but when you hear it, you can Google all this. It's like along the lines of, you're trapped in there, you trapped yourself, it's your decision to get out, or something. And there's things like that in Zen that are just great. It's like, change my mind, and they'll go, show me your mind, and then you can't show somebody your mind, and then that means that all of a sudden the person goes, oh shit, it's not real, it's an opinion, my mind, and then they go, oh, now I get it, right? So stuff like that. Show me your mind and I'll change it for you. Well, you can't show it. And he's like, well, then you're making this up in your head. It's not real. And they go, oh, I'm miserable about this thing, this neighbor, or my job, or my bike shifting, or something like that. It's all an opinion. Some people don't care. So if other people don't care, then maybe I don't need to care either. And if you can find one person that it doesn't, my dad taught me this. He said, the reason that gravity is a theory is all you have to do is find one place in the universe where gravity doesn't work. The rules of gravity doesn't work. Where you drop the apple and it goes up instead of down. Right? And in an infinite universe, there is a possibility that that will happen somewhere on some planet, let's say, somewhere. And we won't know until we explore every inch of the entire universe. So until then, it's just a theory. My dad was an amazing engineer, and he handed me a copy of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, which the show's named after. But which turns out to be a big book about nothing. You have to figure it out yourself, which he'd love. Anyway, back to the fox. The Zen master said something that gave, and it's called a turning word. And you could call it like a turning phrase. It's just, give me a turning word. It's just the common translation that we get. And I'll tell you another one that's awesome too here in a second, then we'll wrap up the show. The turning word. And then, so the guy that was trapped in the body of a fox said, "Oh, thank you." He goes, "Now I'm about to die." He could just, tell or something like that. "I'm about to die. And when I do, give me the proper burial of a monk, because I'm back. I get it. And so the monk, the master, went back to the monastery, told all the students, "Hey, you're going to find the body of a fox in the next few days. When you do, let's give it the burial of an enlightened master monk." And it turns out they did. They found the body of a fox and they gave it that funeral, and that's the end. Now, something, a Zen phrase. Now also, one thing that is very few people know is another phrase, which is moo, M-U, moo. It sounds like the moo of a cow, but it's not. And it was the answer that when the very famous phrase in Zen is, "Can a dog be enlightened?" One guy, a monk, asked a master, "Can a dog have Buddha nature?" Which means, can a dog be enlightened? And it's moo was the answer. And moo is translated accidentally as no. Well, it turns out, and so people have been running with this in Western culture forever. No. And then later, the same student asked the Zen master the same question like a week later. And then the master gave a different answer. He said, yes. And then people take that as what the lesson is that you just really don't know, yes, no, whatever. It kind of depends on your point of view. You can't really tell because it's a dog, right? Well, it turns out that moo, meaning no, is a mistranslation. And me, coming from a background in computer science and technology stuff and working on databases, there is a difference in when you enter stuff in a database, right, or in a spreadsheet, if you want to simplify it a little bit, a cell in a spreadsheet that doesn't have anything in it yet, that's null, N-U-L-L, null. The only reason I spell stuff out on this show is in case people don't hear me correctly, not because I'm being pedantic or patronizing. I just want to make sure that with my Texas accent that I'm understood. And null is an answer, right? It means we don't know yet, right? I don't know, right? People confuse that with zero or no, right? So you're driving down a road. Is the street light in front of you that you can see, is it red or green or yellow, right? But let's say, is it red? No. Or yes, right? You can tell because you can see it, right? Well, the street light that is 20 miles down the road in a town you haven't gotten to yet, right now, is it red or green or yellow? Or is the street closed or not, right? You don't know, right? So the proper answer is, I don't know, right? And the real lesson there was, that's null. I don't know. And that's the actual translation to English. When the first translators translated Zen text from Japanese or Chinese to English, they took I don't know as no, or null as no. It's a word. And you know how like German has all these like Schadenfreude and stuff for phrases that we don't have words for in English. So mu is a one word for I don't know. It cannot be known, basically because it's a dog. The dog can't tell you, so I don't know. And the real lesson there is don't worry about it. You can't ask the dog. The dog can't tell you. You're worrying about something. Being bitten by mosquitoes. You're worried about something that can't be known right now. And a lot of Zen is learning to be okay with what you don't know right now, right? It's not worth your time to worry about it, and let's focus on the things that you actually can do, because there's a whole lot of that saying, you know, like misery is like a past that you can't change, a future that you don't know yet, you know, and doing any of those two things, now you're not living in the now, right? So since you don't know, the dog can't tell you, basically it's like, go away. That's what mu is. Mu, again. Go away. Right? And then when he came back again and he asked, does a dog have Buddha nature? And, you know, that's a great question, because dogs are really in tune with us, you know. And you sure think they might. You know, seems like some dogs definitely are. They get it. You know, I've had a dog or two that seems like they get it. They're as intelligent as people. They just can't speak English as well. You think babies are like that, right? Until you teach them sign language, and then it turns out they do understand what's going on and they're talking. We taught Kai, you know, the whole baby sign language thing, and oh my God. It changes everything, you know. You can actually tell that he's hungry or you know, why is he crying? Is he hungry, or does he want something to drink, or is he sleepy, or does he want something else? You know, and he can do the sign language, and they learn it like super quick. Their vocal cords and their vocal part of their brain just isn't developed yet. So sure, a dog might be enlightened. Some are, I guess. But it's not. But then again, the real lesson is learn to be okay with not knowing. That's what's really important, right? There's things that you will never know, and instead of it making you miserable, it is so cool to be able, and that's when you can tell that somebody is, when they've got that Zen kind of like relaxed aura about them. They're just chill with whatever's going around, because they're okay with it, because they don't need to get involved, because it's all going to work out, or, you know, it's just not their issue, you know. And I've had moments like that, many of them, where, and then the more you do it, the better you get at it, and then you're just like, yeah, I'll just figure it out when I figure it out. And I'm going to let today go. You can practice it like a few hours at a time or a day at a time, and just be like, I'm going to let the day unfold as it goes and just roll with it. And it's really cool. And not get emotionally invested in it turning out the way I want it to, versus the way it just turns out on its own. And then at the end of the day, you realize that your day was so much better by letting it unfold the way nature and the world let it unfold, instead of you just trying so hard to make it the way you want it to be. Okay, I'm going to turn off the mic, and I'm going to review some of this audio, see how it turned out. It sounds pretty good so far, and I'll be right back. Out, ding.